In the midst of hectic schedules, overflowing inboxes, and constant demands for achievement, many professionals quietly lose touch with themselves. On the outside, life may look successful, yet inside, there is often a sense of fatigue, restlessness, or disconnection. Moments of true stillness are rare. And somewhere deep down, a quiet question lingers. Am I truly living, or just managing? The Dharma journey isn't here to give you one more task to do, it's here to offer a pause. A space to breathe. To come back to yourself. Even if just for a moment. Through simple yet profound Buddhist teachings, this channel invites you to rediscover presence, wisdom, and peace, right in the middle of your busy life. In this reflection, Buddhist Reflections for Busy Professionals, we explore timeless principles of mindfulness and insight. These are not just abstract ideas, but living practices that you can weave into your everyday life, in meetings, during commutes, between deadlines. You don't have to quit your job or escape to a mountain. Inner clarity is already here, waiting beneath the noise. Whether you're a manager, a freelancer, an entrepreneur, or simply someone doing their best to hold everything together, this is your invitation to stop running for a moment, and to return. Return to a deeper rhythm. Return to the breath. Return to the quiet strength within you that doesn't depend on success or failure. We don't offer quick fixes. But if you're willing to walk slowly, even in a fast-paced world, and endless deadlines, Buddhism isn't just for monks in silent retreats, it holds profound wisdom for people like you, busy, modern, and seeking peace amid the noise. In the rhythm of modern life, we often trap ourselves in packed schedules, back-to-back meetings, unread emails, and that lingering anxiety about what's next. You wake up with a to-do list and go to bed with a sense that nothing was ever quite enough. And somewhere between coffee breaks and chasing goals, a quiet question arises: why am I always tired? What is this life really for? Buddhism doesn't ask you to renounce the world or retreat to a mountain cave. The Buddhist teachings are deeply practical, meant for anyone who wishes to live with awareness, whether you're a CEO, a parent, or someone navigating the stress of daily deadlines. Mindfulness doesn't have to wait for the weekend. It begins in the now, with the breath you're taking, the child you're holding, the dish you're washing. It's as simple as truly listening to someone without thinking of what's next. Eating and knowing you're eating. Walking and knowing you're walking. Breathing and knowing you're breathing. Mindfulness pulls you out of the autopilot mode and reconnects you with the life that's happening right now. You don't need more time, you need to be more alive in the time you already have. Letting go of expectations, finding ease in doing. We often feel exhausted not because there's too much to do, but because we're carrying the invisible weight of expectations. We're always striving to be someone better, faster, richer, more admired. But the Buddha taught that suffering arises from craving and clinging. What if you could work without being entangled in success or failure? What if your joy didn't depend on how others saw you? Try releasing your attachment to the outcome, not abandoning your goals, but letting go of the pressure that comes with them. Show up fully, do your best, and let life unfold without trying to control every detail. Let your mind quiet down. The Buddha once said, to be aware of your breath is to be aware of life. You don't need a meditation cushion or a quiet room to do this. If you're breathing, you can meditate, at your desk, in line at the store, in the middle of chaos. Your breath is your anchor. It brings you back to the only place where peace exists, the present moment. It's how you walk down the hallway slowly instead of rushing. It's how you wash your hands with gratitude. It's how you listen to your child's story without checking your phone. You don't need more hours to meditate. You just need to show up more fully for the hours you already live. 1 minute of true presence can be more powerful than an hour of distracted stillness. The Dharma, a light in the middle of the city. You don't have to escape the city to find clarity. The Dharma, the teachings of the Buddha, is always here. In the sound of traffic. In the noise of meetings. In the quiet moment before sleep. It's in the way you pause before reacting, the way you soften instead of snapping, the way you remember to breathe when things fall apart. The Buddha didn't promise that life would be easy. He offered a path, a way to walk through difficulty with calm, with strength, with wisdom. That path is open to all of us. Not just to monks or mystics, but to anyone willing to turn inward, even for a moment, and ask, what really matters? You don't have to change your whole life. Just the way you show up for it. You might be living in the middle of a bustling city, surrounded by technology and convenience, but inside, there's a quiet storm brewing. On the outside, you look fine. You're responsible, productive. Keeping up. But deep down, something feels off. Maybe even hollow. And in one of those rare quiet moments, a simple question surfaces. How can I stay calm in the middle of all this busyness? The answer doesn't lie in quitting your job or escaping the world. It lies in learning how to live within the world without letting it consume you. Buddhism teaches that suffering isn't caused by our circumstances, but by the way we relate to them. A busy life doesn't have to be a stressful life. Too much on our plate, we panic. Things don't go as planned, we spiral. These small, unconscious reactions build up over time, wearing us down, draining our peace. But what if you paused? Just one breath before reacting. What if you responded instead, with awareness? That is the turning point. Mindfulness doesn't make the chaos disappear, but it helps you stop absorbing it. It teaches you how to be the eye of the storm, calm, centered, aware, even as life whirls around you. The power of enough, choosing contentment. One of the greatest sources of modern suffering is the sense of never enough. Not enough time. Not enough money. Not enough success. It keeps us running. Chasing, comparing. But the Buddha once said, contentment is the greatest wealth. To know what is enough doesn't mean you stop growing, it means you stop grasping. You start seeing that peace doesn't come from gaining more, but from letting go. You can still work hard, still build your dreams, but not from a place of lack. From a place of quiet wholeness. Silence, the space where clarity returns. In a world that constantly demands your attention, silence becomes a sacred act. And it's not about external quiet. Breathe in, breathe out. Let the noise settle on its own. Stillness isn't something you find, it's something that reveals itself when you stop chasing and simply arrive. Letting go, finding peace in what you can't control. There's so much in life you can't control, what others say, how plans unfold, what tomorrow will bring. But most of our stress comes from trying to manage the uncontrollable. We carry the weight of things we were never meant to hold. Buddhism offers a gentle reminder, you can't stop the waves. But you can learn to surf. Peace isn't about fixing everything. It's about loosening your grip. Accepting what is. Responding with softness instead of resistance. Self-care as an act of compassion. Compassion isn't just something you give to others. It starts with how you treat yourself. When you're tired, rest. When you're overwhelmed, pause. When your mind is a mess, don't force it to be okay. Even the Buddha didn't ask us to be perfect. He simply showed us how to be human, with honesty, presence, and care. You don't need to do everything flawlessly. Just do it with sincerity. Make tea with mindfulness. Finish your task with awareness. If you show up to each moment fully, that in itself is spiritual practice. Peace isn't a destination, it's a way of walking. When you slow down, let go of the noise, and nurture presence, you begin to realize, even in a busy life, something you gently train, day by day, breath by breath. And if you've ever asked, how do I stay calm in the middle of everything? The answer is always close. Just stop. Breathe in. Breathe out. And smile. To live peacefully in a world that never seems to slow down, you don't have to change everything. You just have to return, again and again, to a few timeless, grounded principles. Simple, but powerful. These teachings from the Buddha are not reserved for monks or mystics. They're here for you, for your busy, modern, imperfect life. Principle 1, Mindfulness, being fully present. Even while washing dishes or driving. Many people think mindfulness is some kind of special state that requires silence, candles, or long hours of meditation. But mindfulness actually begins in the most ordinary moments, a deep breath, a sincere gaze, a quiet pause before answering an email. When you're washing the dishes, know you're washing the dishes. When you're in a meeting, be fully in the meeting, not replaying last night's conversation or planning what to eat for lunch. When you're driving, really feel your hands on the wheel. The rhythm of your breath, the movement of the road. Mindfulness doesn't change your circumstances, it changes how you show up to them. A feeling that life hasn't really started until we reach that next milestone. But there's always another milestone. And another. The Buddha taught, contentment is the greatest wealth. To feel enough doesn't mean you give up or settle. It means you begin to notice what's already here. It means you pause to appreciate the small things, the quiet of the morning, a warm cup of tea. Your breath moving in and out. When you feel enough, your heart opens. You stop comparing. You stop grasping. You stop chasing. And ironically, it's in that space of enoughness that true creativity, generosity, and joy are born. Satisfaction doesn't come from having more. It comes from needing less. Principle 3, Impermanence, letting go. Because nothing lasts forever. One of the most profound teachings in Buddhism is the truth of impermanence. Everything changes. Nothing stays the same. Every joy fades. Every sorrow passes. You stop clinging. You stop resisting. You learn to flow. Impermanence reminds you that this too shall pass. A stressful day. It will end. A painful emotion. It won't last. A failure. Just a moment in a much bigger journey. This doesn't mean life becomes dull or meaningless, it means you start to live more lightly. With less fear, and more openness. You see that every moment is precious because it won't last. And that gives you the courage to love deeper, to forgive quicker, to laugh more freely. The awakened ones don't try to control the waves, they learn how to surf. When these three principles, mindfulness, contentment, and impermanence, become part of your daily rhythm, you begin to experience something profound. Peace isn't about clearing away the noise of the world. It's about seeing the world differently. You may still have deadlines. You may still have bills and obligations. You may still face conflict, fatigue, or loss. But your mind, when nourished with presence and understanding, will stop being tossed around by every wave. You'll pause more. Breathe deeper. Be grateful, even on hard days. And smile, even in moments that aren't perfect. Because in the end, peace doesn't wait for your to-do list to be finished. Peace is already here. In your steps. In your breath. In this beautifully imperfect moment you're living right now. Imagine you're about to begin your workday. Maybe it's a full schedule ahead, dozens of emails waiting, meetings lined up, unfinished tasks piling up. Instead of jumping straight in like usual, try pausing for just a moment. Just 1 minute. Close your eyes gently. Breathe in, and simply know that you're breathing in. Breathe out, and simply know that you're breathing out. There's no need to control or change anything. Just be fully here with your breath, like reconnecting with an old friend in the middle of chaos. That 1 minute is enough to reset your entire inner world. It's like rebooting the system of your mind. You step into your day no longer rushing or reacting, but grounded and aware. The breath becomes your anchor, a place you can return to anytime the pressure begins to rise. And then you realize, every minute of the day can be a moment of practice, if you know how to pause and truly breathe. Being mindful while drinking water or walking. You may not always have time to sit down and meditate. But you can always be mindful when you take a sip of water. Don't gulp it down in a hurry. Pause. Hold the glass. Feel the coolness. Breathe in, feel your body being refreshed. Breathe out, let go of any tension still lingering in your chest. It's just a sip of water, but in that moment, you reconnect with yourself, with your body, your breath, your sense of gratitude. And when you walk, instead of letting your mind race ahead, bring your attention down to your feet. Feel the contact between the soles and the ground. Whether you're just walking across the room, heading out for lunch, or walking back to your desk, each step can be a step in mindfulness. Walking with full awareness that you're walking, that itself is a form of meditation. With practice like this, you don't need to find more time to be mindful. You just need to bring more presence into what you're already doing. Looking at a colleague with compassion, not judgment. The workplace can be a tough environment, full of stress, misunderstandings, and unspoken tensions. Maybe you don't like the way someone communicates. Maybe a team member's attitude gets under your skin. Maybe you feel unfairly criticized or overlooked. You begin to see that they're also struggling in their own way, trying to hold it together, trying to feel safe, trying to be okay, just like you. Maybe they're carrying personal burdens you know nothing about. Maybe their behavior is just a reflection of pain they haven't yet learned to face. You might choose to stay silent, or smile, or respond truthfully, but without causing harm. A small act, a respectful greeting, a neutral glance, a calm tone, can quietly open the door to real transformation. Not just for others, but for your own heart. Practice is learning to soften in the midst of imperfection. Even with all of this, you begin to understand that peace isn't about controlling the outside, it's about how you show up inside it all. That's the essence of this practice. Don't wait for the right time or ideal place to begin your inner work. You can begin right here. Right now. With exactly what you have. And when you live like that, moment by moment, you'll start to see. Peace was never waiting at the end of the path. It's been here all along, hidden in each step you take. Each step with awareness. Each breath with presence. Each moment with an open heart. And you're no longer chasing life. You're finally living it. Many people think that in order to practice spirituality, the path of practice lies right in the middle of ordinary life, with work, responsibilities, and everyday busyness. We don't need to escape our jobs. In fact, the workplace is an ideal place to meditate, to live mindfully, to gradually let go of the ego. Every workday, every interaction, every moment of stress is an opportunity to come home to ourselves. Every action, when done with presence, is meditation. Meditation isn't just sitting still with your eyes closed in a quiet room. Meditation is being fully present in whatever you're doing. When you're typing and fully aware that you're typing, that is meditation. When you're listening to someone without reacting, without judging, just being present, that is meditation. Whether you're washing dishes, drinking tea, replying to emails, or sitting in a client meeting, if your mind isn't racing through the past or worrying about the future, you're practicing meditation. A simple action, when done with a clear and settled mind, becomes a form of practice. You don't need to add anything, just be there completely. That's the heart of meditation in everyday life. But a true sacred space isn't about appearances, it's wherever the mind is anchored in awareness. If we bring mindfulness, compassion, and letting go into our work, then even a noisy office, a busy cafe, or a chaotic meeting room becomes a sacred space. An employee who works with mindfulness is no less than someone meditating in the mountains. In fact, the challenges of the workplace, with its pressure, competition, and daily stress, offer rich ground for deep inner practice. Because in those moments, our habits rise to the surface. And that's when we truly see ourselves, our impatience, our ego, our need for approval. That clarity is precious. Mindfulness has no days off. Mindfulness isn't reserved for meditation sessions or peaceful weekends. It's a lifelong practice, meant for every situation, even when we're overwhelmed, frustrated. When your patience runs out, that's when the path becomes real. If you can catch yourself in those moments, take a deep breath, and come back to the present, you're already transforming. Letting go at work doesn't mean giving up. In Buddhist practice, letting go doesn't mean being lazy or irresponsible. It means doing your best, without clinging to outcomes. It means showing up with full effort, but not tying your identity to success or failure. When we release our expectations, comparisons, and ego-driven goals, we become lighter, not because the workload disappears, but because we stop carrying the weight of attachment. Work becomes less of a burden and more of a vehicle for inner growth and wisdom. Compassion at work, a path of transformation. If we can bring compassion into the workplace, by listening deeply, being patient, or withholding judgment, we not only create a more peaceful environment, or simply offering a sincere smile when someone's having a tough day. The Buddha taught, if your heart doesn't move when others suffer, that's not the true path. To live in this world and stay open to suffering, without turning away or numbing out, is the beginning of true compassion. And when compassion takes root, it spreads quietly, healing others. Just become a little more peaceful each day. React less. Hold fewer grudges. Learn to pause in moments of overwhelm. That alone is a sign you're moving in the right direction, not toward some distant goal, but back to your own heart, where peace has always been waiting. When work becomes practice, there's nowhere else you need to be. You don't need to quit your job, become a monk, or wait for life to slow down to begin your spiritual journey. Right now, in this very life, in this very job, you already have everything you need to wake up. All it takes is one conscious breath. One moment of true understanding. The Buddha's teachings don't say, go somewhere else. They simply whisper something deeply profound, come back to yourself, right here, right now. Maybe you're living in a noisy city, working under constant deadlines and meetings. That's okay. That's your practice ground. You don't have to leave anything behind. Right in this very moment. If you just pause and breathe, come home to your body, your breath, your awareness, you're already practicing. Just that, one breath, one moment of presence, is a powerful step on the path of awakening. A little less mental fog. Then suddenly, a quiet spaciousness opens up in your mind. Imagine standing in an elevator, thoughts racing. But instead of getting swept away, you stop for a moment, inhale, exhale, and become fully present. Just that small shift can remind you, you are not your stress. You are not your job. You are the awareness that holds all of it. And in remembering that, you taste a kind of freedom that no external success can give. Compassion begins with how you treat yourself. We often try so hard to be kind to others, yet we're ruthless with ourselves. When we make mistakes, we criticize. When we fall short, we condemn. But compassion can't truly blossom if we don't know how to be gentle with ourselves first. Try seeing yourself the way you'd look at a dear friend. Could you say, today was hard, but I did my best? That's not indulgence, it's real kindness. From that space, it becomes so much easier to offer patience and understanding to others, especially those silently struggling with battles we can't see. 1 minute of stillness can change the rhythm of your whole day. No one is ever too busy to be mindful. We've just forgotten how to prioritize the quiet needs of the heart. But 1 minute, just one quiet, conscious minute, can shift everything. Before you open your laptop, take a breath. Sit still. Feel the ground under you. Set a quiet intention, today. I will work with awareness. Then begin. Everything else may stay the same, emails, deadlines, meetings, but your presence has changed. In the middle of a stressful meeting, you remember to soften your breath. During a frustrating moment, you feel the body before reacting. These small changes ripple out, and slowly, they transform your way of living. No one can bring you back to yourself but you. You might be waiting for the right moment to begin, maybe after a vacation, after the next big life change, when things finally settle down. But the truth is, the only right moment is now. And the beautiful part? You don't have to be perfect to start. You just have to be sincere. Begin with a breath. With a slow sip of water in the morning. With one moment of looking at a loved one and really seeing them. Each small act, done with awareness, is a form of meditation. Awareness doesn't turn you into someone else, it brings you back to who you've always been. There's something paradoxical on the path of mindfulness. You don't become someone new. You simply begin to shed all the layers that are not truly you, the defenses, the tension, the need to prove, the patterns of fear. And as those soften, what's revealed is something deeply familiar. A quiet presence that has always been there, underneath the noise. That's not something you need to go search for. That's your homecoming. You don't have to choose between ordinary life and a spiritual path, because they're not separate. The Buddhist teachings were never meant only for monasteries. They were teachings for life, for meeting suffering, for letting go, for waking up, right in the middle of everyday moments. If you can listen to someone without reacting, that's the Dharma. If you can pause before sending an angry email, that's mindfulness. If you can walk to work without losing yourself in anxiety, that's meditation in motion. It doesn't require robes or rituals. It just asks for a heart that's willing to come back, again and again, to what's real, right here. Have you ever tried applying a teaching from the Buddha to your workday? Maybe it was a moment when you chose to pause and breathe instead of reacting. Maybe you listened deeply instead of rushing to respond. If something from your own experience resonates with this, feel free to share it in the comments. Your story might just be the insight someone else needs on their own journey. If today's video offered you something, a moment to reflect, a gentle reminder, or a new way of approaching life and work, consider subscribing to the channel. By subscribing, you're not only staying connected with future content, but you're also helping to bring the wisdom of Buddhism into everyday life, into boardrooms, living rooms, and coffee breaks, where peace is so often needed but rarely found. Thank you for being here. May you always find the presence to recognize the light in every moment. See you in the next video.